Hello, 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 and welcome to the Jump Podcast. I'm your host, Charles Matthews, and welcome. Now, jump is not jumping about up and down. Jump is about getting to the next level. How do you jump into greatness? I got special guests here, just like you and me, that's going to help you get to that next level. We're going to talk about the cash. That's right. Everybody wants to make that money. We're going to talk about the flow. The best person to talk about that is my man, Bryan. Bryan, give it up for Bryan. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. Doing
All
good.
right, all right. Like, listen, I'm gonna put it out there. People don't know what we go through to get these shows out there. You know what I mean? Like, with technical difficulties here, troubles there, but we're gonna get this out because this is so important that everybody needs to know how to keep that cash flowing, so you don't have to worry about it and just go from A to B. But the most important thing for me is to get to know you. So, born and raised, where are you from?
Philadelphia. Grew up in the Philadelphia area, C-class neighborhood during that, Allen Iverson era. So was good at basketball, grew to be about 6'5" by the age of 13, 14. And my first high school game, people like hearing, was against LeBron. So they kind of flew us out to Akron, played in front of a sold-out crowd there. And that was kind of like my welcome to high school basketball, which was pretty crazy. But basketball took me all over the world, landed me at Columbia University. And when I got there, I got exposed to some incredible mentors, people who are doing things with their mind and making more money than, athletes, professional athletes. So it definitely reshaped the way that I thought about wealth and entrepreneurship and kind of led me to this path.
All right, so you gotta give me one story. Did you cross him up? Did you steal the ball? Did you give him a highlight reel or something? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he gave us a heck of a highlight reel. I did strip him. At this time, I was very wiry. I stripped him at half court. I went down. And look, I would probably not have tried this had I been more aware of like who this guy really was. But I tried to dunk on him. And he hacked the hell out of me, sent me to the line. Like it was comical. But no, I mean, I gave him everything you could give, a man child at 14 years old, but this guy was he was a beast. He was just a freak of nature. Yeah.
Yeah. So all that experience growing up, playing ball, traveling, how did it get to the business aspect of where you are today?
I think you learn a lot from sports. Sports is like a microcosm for life, for business as well. How to play with others, how to deal with adversity. How do you handle winning? How do you handle losing? So all of these things that I learned from sports and becoming team captain and having success and dealing with different attitudes and different coaches, it all toughened me and gave me the skill sets that I needed to thrive in this real estate industry, which I say real estate is the ultimate team sport. You need a bunch of different people: architects, engineers, contractors, lenders, realtors, wholesalers. But the ownership is a solo sport. So even if you played a solo sport like tennis, golf, you can still apply a lot of those lessons to real estate. So it just made me tougher and gave me a different business acumen because I dealt with adversity, as a little guy, coming all the way up.
Well, let's take it back then. As a little guy, where did you see yourself? Like, where did you see yourself going?
Look, I wanted to go pro, man. I wanted to play in the league, and that was kind of the goal. When I was in like freshman year, sophomore year, I was ranked, top 10, top 20 in the country. And I had a bunch of, ACL tear and microfracture surgery and stuff in college. But I remember one of my mentors, he was a options trader, worked at the New York Mercantile Exchange trading gas and heat options, and I'm doing an internship for him. We're sitting like in the pits, like if you watch Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, like trading places, like we're in the pit, and he's like, "Bryan, you want to go to the NBA?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How much did Kobe Bryant make last year?" "I don't know, 10 million. And he's like, "You see that guy over there?" I look over, it's just a guy,
regular guy.
He said he made $80 million last year. And I'm like, whoa. And he's like, "Yeah, this is the effing NBA." And I'm like, whoa. And he's just, he's kind of just reshaping the way that I think about business. I'm watching these guys work 3-4 hours a day, and they're making tens of millions. And I'm like, man, I got to get into finance. This is where it's really at, and you can do that forever.
Now, the funny thing is, as you get older, you realize there's certain things. There's money and fame, and,
Yeah.
and then riches with no fame.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of famous people out there that are not even close to
To the
some of the richest people out there. Yeah, you
yeah.
know, on the street, you see them on the street, you get recognized, but their pockets is not as full as some regular Joe. You know, like you said, sitting on the stock market, doing what he's got to do, just humbly sitting at home trading stocks. So explain the difference to people out there, especially to the young cats out there, that they want to be the star, the famous person seen on TV, compared to having that money in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, what you have to think about is who's writing the checks, which is why I always teach my people, like my mentees, to become developers, because in real estate the developer pays everybody. So therefore they are making the most money, right? If you weren't making the most money, how could you pay the architect, the engineer, the realtor fees, the lender fees? You're controlling all the money. When you think about sports and entertainment, who's writing Shaq's check?
Yeah.
Like Shaq rich, but
Hmm.
who's writing the multi-million-dollar check to pay them? They must be making more money than your favorite athlete. Same thing with your favorite entertainer. They're on these record deals. Who owns the label? Who's really making the money? Because if they can write a $10 million check to the artist, they're making more money than that artist. They're keeping it. So you have to look, you have to read the labels, you have to look behind the veil. There's so many veils in these games, especially in real estate, but in all of these different industries. And your job, if you want to get to the big money, is to remove the veil, to find where that veil is and lift it and see what's behind it. And most of the talent is up front, and then behind the veils are people who know the contract law, people who know how to do the marketing and do the setup work. And you can get into those industries and make a ton of money.
You know something? I didn't break it down like that until you said it. I didn't really thought of it that way, but that's a great analogy, because at the end of the day, like, I'll use like Stephen Curry. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He just got like the max contract. Everything's good. You're like, oh man, he's rich. But then wait a minute,
Who
who
wrote
paid
the check?
him? Not only did they pay him, they got to pay 15 other players on the team.
Yeah.
So, you know, Clay's going to get his check and Wiggins got his. But then who's paying these guys?
Who's writing the checks?
Who's
It's
writing the checks?
those guys who have the money.
That's right. So that's great. So listen, hope you're listening out there. Be the boss. The boss is
Yeah.
the one who's got the check. So that is so interesting. So
Yeah.
when you came out of the pit, you wanted to be the boss. When did you become the boss?
I mean, I kind of always walked that path, right? Like both of my parents were very entrepreneurial. I watched them, like, as I was growing up, start businesses, um, and just control their own destiny, kind of just work and control their schedule to a degree. And that was always ingrained in me. So when I'm coming out of Columbia University, I'm an econ major. They're pretty much railroading everybody into investment banking. So guys are graduating, they're knocking down $180 working the investment banking thing, but they're working 18, 20-hour days. Like,
Mm.
literally go home, shower, take a nap, drink a cup of coffee, back at it. And I'm always want to look at lifestyle. Like, even cash flow, what we're talking about today is like, it's about lifestyle. Like, you want to have financial freedom so you can do what you want to do all day. So
Yes.
when I graduated, I went into financial planning because I could control my schedule, kind of do my own thing, but I was 100% commission. So I didn't have the salary. I chose the hard path up front. So I struggled. My first, I think, 8 months, I made $6,000 the first 8 months of working. So I was
Mhm.
basically paying to work a full-time job. But what I learned was I became bulletproof. I developed what we call rhino skin. Your skin is like 12 inches thick. I started off cold calling attorneys, and chasing commissions. So when I go to do entrepreneurial things, I'm fearless because I started off with no salary. So salary never impressed me. Being stuck to that 9 to 5, it never impressed me. I wasn't afraid of just hustling for commissions. So I'm a bit more fearless than the average person, even though I am conservative as an investor.
So when it's time to pick up that phone and call somebody and say, "Look, I got this deal for you. This is what we need to do, A, B, and C." You have no fear of picking up that phone compared to a regular person. Is like, "Oh, what should I say? Should I
Yeah.
send an email first? What should I?"
But that muscle is built. That muscle is like going into the gym, you know, 5'5", like 110 pounds, and trying to bench 250. Like your chest
Mm.
is gonna fold. But as you keep working, you keep doing your push-ups, like you pick up that phone, eventually it becomes a muscle, it gets stronger. You get cursed out a couple times, and then you're like, well, what are they gonna do to me? And then you start to make a game out of it, you know. So cold calling will make you tough, you know, as tough as nails in terms of sales. So I love that aspect. And now, you know, I've trained people to cold call, and it's just a superpower in terms of the mindset.
All right, you said it. I gotta ask. Give me your worst call that you remember you ever gotten when you called somebody. Come on now.
I mean, it's not like you get bad. Like you could get cursed out, right? But there's no higher level is what I found. It's like somebody might they're just gonna bang on you. Like you're talking and they're just click, or they'll curse you out. Don't effing call here. But after a while, it all just gets tuned out. It just becomes a game. Here was my mental game. I would look at the phone and just say, I'm lonely. I want somebody to talk to. And that was my mental game. So that was my mindset with calling. It's like, hey, I'm lonely. I want to talk to somebody. I didn't care. And I'm just dialing. And after a while, you will connect with the right people, because what happened when I was financial planning is I was calling and the office was hearing me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yo, this dude's a machine. He's just gonna keep calling. So the older guys started taking their book of business because they were making so much money. They didn't want to call their clients. And they're like, here. They would just drop off folders, call these people, tell them we want to review their account. And I started strumming up business, and we started making money. And I became known as the guy to go to with your leads, because he's going to uncover some diamonds and you're going to make more money. So these things, all these activities, even though you can't see the value, there's this delay between the effort you're putting in and the energy as an entrepreneur and then the money coming in. But people are watching. The universe is watching. So when you keep applying that energy, a reward is going to come in.
There you go. All right, let's have some fun. It's now time for rapid fire. Rapid fire comes up. I put 2 minutes on the clock. You get to choose your own questions. Now, you can elaborate on your answers, but remember, you got 2 minutes on the clock and you got to get through all the answers. So, which questions would you like? A, B, C, or D?
Let's go with when in doubt, choose C.
That's like on every test, right? Just keep putting C. All right. The clock will start with your first question. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. What is success to you?
Success is being able to wake up and do what you want to do. Spend time with your family. Spend time with self-healing, meditation, working out, exercising, and just living life on your terms. That's success.
Sunset or sunrise?
Sunrise. You gotta get after this thing early in the morning.
Favorite color?
Favorite color, green, money green.
Chocolate or vanilla?
I would say chocolate. Definitely chocolate.
What's the best fashion advice you ever gotten?
The best fashion advice I ever got was always rock some gold. Always rock some gold. Gold is also good for healing, and spiritual energy as well. So always rock some gold.
What's the first thing you notice about somebody when you first meet them?
Their energy. Like, how do they present? Are they confident? So really confidence. That's something that we all will either project or lack.
What's the best compliment you ever gotten?
That you work hard. I pride myself on hard work, on just getting up every day and putting in work, and that, you're a good father. I love, being a dad and taking care of my sons.
There you go. Favorite food?
Woo, CMOS.
In 30 seconds, how do you start your day?
Meditation every day. Meditation, hit the park, calisthenics, workout, pull-ups, push-ups, and then real estate. That's every day.
There you go, with 18 seconds left on the clock. That was easy for you, though. You're used to doing a shot clock, right? You know how to cut.
Yeah. That was a layup. Yeah, that was a layup drill.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Yes, we are back live. Now, here's a question for you. You talked about starting the day off early. You said sunrise. You want to get this moving. So tell us when you start your day.
Man, most days are early now, probably, 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. You got to wake up early if you're going to get into meditation, because I have two young guys, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So they're up, early as well. They can be up at some days 4 a.m., 5 a.m. So it's pretty early these days.
All right. So when you get started, you do your meditation. Is it just about thinking about the next thing, or you're thinking about yourself and your body?
It's about no thought, actually. It's about non-thought, which is kind of bringing yourself more into the present, which is just, no thought at all. Yeah.
Just tune everything out. Just be with yourself and just calm yourself down and don't think about the next thing and go from there.
Yeah, spaciousness. So to give yourself the distance, a lot of us are too reactive because we don't have space between when things happen and when we react to it. So it's really about being in that mindless state where you have some spaciousness between what's going on. So as you tackle the day, you can approach it appropriately and make clear decisions.
Maybe I gotta start doing that, because as soon as my eyes open,
Yeah,
it's running. My brain's thinking, email this. Did I send that? Did I call this client? I gotta send his invoice. It's just running. So I'm gonna try that. I'm putting that out there right now. All right. So tell everybody how you help people with the flow. What's your main thing to keep that flow going?
It's really like real estate. The main things to keep the main thing. And the main thing for me is real estate, right? It's building up affordable housing, rebuilding your communities. If you live in C-class neighborhoods, there are most of these C-class cities were built in the 1910s, 1915s. These properties are 100 years old. So they need people who know how to develop, who know how to take properties that are in shell condition and full gut renovate them and put them back together. If you accompany this with building affordable housing or workforce housing, for the average American, there are millions of Americans sleeping on their parents' couch or in the basement. So if you build this housing, they will come. And as you build up these assets and rebuild your community, you're going to build massive amounts of wealth, cash flow, and that cash flow will break you free from the 9-to-5 and allow you to live, your dream life, whatever that is. If you want to travel, if you want to spend time with your family, don't go buy the Lamborghini, go buy another property that's going to kick off enough cash flow to maybe afford the payment on a Lamborghini, but just focus on that real estate for as long as possible and it will reward you.
All right. You said something. Now it kind of changed my question for you, because there's a two-parter there. So I'm going to go back one and jump back in front. You said, don't buy the Lamborghini. And I laugh at that only because when people start getting money, they want to go buy the flashy car. They want to buy the big ring, the watch, this, and this, instead of building the massive money first and then retire and do all those great things.
Yeah, no, it happens. I mean, people, and I'm not knocking, some people like that. Some people are flashy. If you want to be flashy, maybe you buy and flip houses. The money will come a little faster. But with this buy and hold game, with this cash flow game, it is a slow and steady type of a game. And the people who are really successful at whatever they do is because they love it. Even if we go back to athletes, there's a lot when you get to a professional level that these guys deal with that you don't see. And it takes away what they call like the love for the game. But the guys who are able to keep that love, they're the ones that accelerate. They're the Hall of Famers. They're the ones that go to the top. There are so many burnouts in between that are just doing it for the money. Then they get it and they're not happy. There's really no fulfillment in just the money. It's really about mission. Like what drives me now, after going out and grabbing hundreds of properties and rebuilding communities and rebuilding people, it's just mission. It's really about just the purpose and the love of real estate that keeps me motivated. It's really, it's not the money.
Then the question is, how do we get started? How do we find that first property? How do we find a partner like yourself? How do we get into it? Because it's great to say, go get your car, but how do you build the money to get that car?
Yeah, I mean, you got to start by paying yourself first. Like everything starts with just every check you get. I call it like my 3-part system, which is 1, pay yourself first, 10% of every check if you can. And you have to work your way to there. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you have to add more skill sets so that you can get a bump up in salary, get more money, and then don't increase your lifestyle. Or you got to cut back on your expenses. So that's like a financial planning thing, but pay yourself first, put that money into a separate account, and then set a threshold. So it's got to go in a separate account, which the only way money comes out of this account is for investments, and then put a threshold on it, 10,000, 20,000. Once you hit that threshold, that money goes into a deal and you keep running that play. There are also ways like, there's down payment assistance and stuff now that I know about now that I didn't know about before, where there are government funds where they'll give you 100% of the money in terms of the down payment, closing costs, appraisal fees, property inspection fees, all of that money to get your first property or to get a duplex even that you can qualify for if you're getting your first deal. And I work with people on that. I even have like a YouTube video I dropped on the top 5 down payment assistance programs out there that you all need to know about. So getting wrapping that around into another angle is there's 2 ways to get into real estate. So that's how you can get some free money and save some money. But how do you get in? There's 2 things you need. You need money or knowledge. You can go out in the school of hard knocks if you got $1 million and you can blow through $500,000 and then you'll learn the game after you get burned by contractors and get ripped off a bunch. Or you take your money and you tap into knowledge. And the more knowledge you have, the less money you need because you're not going to make all those costly mistakes. You're just going to get tapped into the programs, get the free government money, get started, build cash flow, wash, rinse, repeat, and do it again. So if you have a ton of money and you want to do it yourself, go out and blow all your money. I mean, you're probably still better off paying a mentor, but go blow your money and you'll figure it out. If you don't have a bunch of money, you cannot learn from the school of hard knocks because this is not white collar. This is blue collar. And there's a big difference. There's no HR department. There's nobody to call on. You're in the Wild West and a contractor will steal your money. The first deal I did, trying to figure it out, they ran off with $40,000, on a deal. And that will bury 99% of us. So I'm still standing, but I'm here so you don't have to go through things like that.
And that's the main thing I bring people like you on my show is you've jumped. You've learned the mistakes, the mistakes you can teach back. But I have to ask you, you said 4-0. Tell us that story real quick.
So this is called the contractor game. So how does this situation happen? So I had to analyze it. And this is, now you can laugh about things that you were crying about. Like 40,000 was enough to bury me at the time, but I'm a resilient guy, right? I have that rhino skin and I'm not going to stop. But the contractor game is this. You will, when you're first getting started, you're going to go out and try to find the cheapest contractor to do the job. And some guy's going to come along and say, I can get it done for 50 grand, full gut renovation. Everybody else is saying 100K. So you're like, wow, I found my guy. He's not trying to rip me off. He's finally giving me the real price. Everybody else is trying to rip me off. That's actually wrong. He's giving you a price that's so unbelievable that he can run a game on you because you will never want to wake up in a reality where the real cost is 100K. You've now committed this deal to being 50K. So they're going to get ahead of the draws, give me 25% up front, then they're going to do a little show work. Give me another 25%, they'll do a little bit of more show work, make up some excuses, give me the next third. Before you know it, they got all the money and only 10% of the work is done. And the game is that initial game. That's why this thing works is they gave you this price that you can't find anybody else to match. So it's impossible to find somebody. So you just want to believe that they're doing their best and they're trying to get it done, but it's just a game. And once it's run on you, you can see it as clear as day. It's called the contractor game. So that's one of the first things I teach my people so that they can avoid, that pitfall.
I'm not going to lie to you. I actually think I have somebody going through that right now.
Yeah. It happens.
I think I got somebody going through that right now, my friend. So I ain't going to lie to you.
Yeah.
All right. It is now to go to the next level. Let's go.
Now time for victory!
It's now time for pick 3. You get to ask yourself the last 3 questions before we end this interview. So all you got to do is give me 3 numbers between 1 and 13. And those are the last 3 questions I ask you for today.
I'll take 1, 7, and 13.
1, 7, and 13. Number 1. Here it goes. What's the one thing you wish you have known before getting into this business?
I wish I knew what blue collar was. Working white collar, it was you have just a different corporate ladder and HR department, all these things. I wish I knew more about just dealing with contractors and how to navigate that situation.
Yeah, I like earlier in your story when you said there was no HR to call. Like, hello.
Yeah, come help me.
Hello.
Yeah.
I didn't get my money back and he didn't put the faucet in. Is there somebody I can talk to?
Yeah.
All right. What is the one myth about your industry you want to squash right now? Everybody that's listening, you want to squash it right now. Tell them it doesn't work like that.
That Section 8 is bad, or that affordable housing is bad, or that C-class neighborhoods, you should avoid investing in rougher neighborhoods or neighborhoods that are on the fringe. That's actually where the millionaires are made. The people who buy in early into these neighborhoods and then hold as they transform and develop. That's how you buy in at 100K, your property's worth 400, 500,000 10 years from now. Those are where the millionaires are made. So that's a falsehood.
Okay. Tell us about your podcast, your YouTube channel, where we can find you.
You can find me on YouTube. Bryan Loves Cash Flow on YouTube, and I love cash flow, so it's easy to remember. You can find me on Instagram, Bryan Grimes _247 CFU for the 24/7 Cash Flow University. You can find me on LinkedIn, Bryan Grimes Real Estate. You can Google Bryan Grimes Explains and find a lot of my content. That will all backlink to a free training that I put together for you guys that'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on a dollar all across the country on www.workwithgrimes.com/cashflow, workwithgrimes.com/cashflow. Once again, it'll tap you into my free training. It'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on a dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that free offer.
All right. And last one before we go, past or present, name somebody you just want to shadow. You could be the fly on their shoulder, just follow them the whole day, see how they did it, what they did, what they didn't do. Who would you follow? Past or present, who would it be?
I want to shadow the Mamba, the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality. He has I wish he was still around because he has so much mental game to give to the world. But that attitude, that fearlessness, and that focus that he had with sports and then even business afterwards, you love to just follow a guy like that for a day and see how locked in he is.
There you go. My friend, it's been an honor and pleasure to have you on my show. Thank you so much for giving us the knowledge and how we can move forward.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Like I always say, you didn't have to watch, you didn't have to listen, but I'm so glad you did. Now, here's the question. You have money sitting there. What do you do with it? Do you want to build your wealth, or you just want to sit back and relax? You want to do the flow? Well, here's a person you can talk to. Give them a call. Don't be scared to get to that next level. Yes, you drive in the neighborhood. You're seeing all these houses. You want to be that person. It's time now to jump. Go for it. What are you waiting for? Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.
Has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice.